Hello friends and welcome to gusmcdollgames. My name is Nick McDoll and today we're continuing the NATO campaign in Naval War Arctic Circle with the 5th tutorial mission, Radar, in which we will cover the use of radar in the game. Naval War Arctic Circle is based on a hypothetical Great Arctic War set in 2030 and largely fought, as the name suggests, in the North Atlantic, Arctic, Baltic and the North Sea. So this is Tutorial 5 Radar, which explains how to use radars. The description is, in this tutorial you will learn more about how your radars work and how you can most effectively detect enemy units. And our objectives are to use radar efficiently. We'll start the game. We've already read the description. And the hint says, select your Halifax class frigate and launch its helicopter to stay close to the ship. Do not change elevation or turn on radar yet. And aircraft is automatically launched from your land base. You will need it later. Okay, this is the Boeing P-8A Poseidon in an anti-submarine warfare profile. It's just taken off from Canadian Forces Base Goose Bay. It has 11 Mark 54 torpedoes. And we'll just follow it as it flies on. See if we can have a look at the airbase that it's just come from. There we go. CFB, or Canadian Forces Base Goose Bay, has 72 AMRAAM missiles and self-defense, and this is of course in northeastern Canada. It has Boeing P-8A Poseidon multi-mission maritime aircraft and has 2 F-35A Lightning II in an air superiority long-range role. You can also do naval strike short range. You can do strike with harm anti-radiation missiles, which go after radar. Also in a short range, it can do a short range as well. It can do strike missions with the JSOW, short range strike missions with the JDAM, and short range strike missions with the JDAM. So very versatile aircraft. So this is CFB Goose Bay. Now we'll move to Her Majesty's Canadian ship Montreal, which is a Halifax class vessel, and you can see it here with the Bofors 57mm, the Phalanx. It's got so the Bofors with a range of 9 more nautical miles, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile RIM 162 with 27 nautical mile range, the Phalanx close-in weapon system Gatling gun with a 2 nautical mile range for close defense. It has 8 Harpoon RGM-84 Harpoon missiles, 150 nautical mile range, and Mark 46 lightweight torpedoes. It has 24 of those with a 6 nautical mile range. What we'll do now is we'll take the SH-60B Seahawk in an anti-submarine warfare profile, and we'll do what the instructions told us to do and prepare it for launch. And we will launch it somewhere very close to Montreal. There we go, launching the helicopter, and there you can see it launching from the helicopter landing deck of the Montreal. Now we don't want it to go very far. Okay, so we've got a new detection on the top left, the Escapade, and the hint says, you detected a fishing boat nearby. Note that neither the helicopter nor the frigate uses active radar. The fishing boat was detected passively by the ESM, Electronic Support Measures, capabilities of your radar. This detects various electronic transmissions from the target without you having to turn on any sensors. Notice that you do not get an exact position for the target, but you have identified it. Combat units are typically shielded from creating significant emissions. Your helicopter could see the signal because it is at a higher elevation than your ship, giving it longer vision. Having your helicopter selected, go to the movement planner and change elevation to medium height, the maximum. Make sure the helicopter stays close to the frigate. Yeah, we'll slow it down just a little bit because we don't want it to get too far from the frigate. I'll have a quick look at the sensors. APS 124 radar is currently not on. It's got a fair range to it. We can see the Escapade, the fishing boat, out here in the mid-Atlantic, a long way from Jersey. go back to the Seahawk, activate the sensor. Actually, I'm not really sure we should be activating the sensor. We probably want to deactivate that at this stage. Go back to the movement box and we'll set it to medium height. And you can see it's gradually increasing its height there. So you've got these different, the movement box allows you to do various commands like place waypoint. When turned on, clicking on the satellite map will place new waypoints instead of issuing orders to the unit to move directly. The return to formation, order the unit to move back to its formation position, not valid for units not in a group. And return to base function, which orders the unit to return to its home base. If no home base is assigned, the unit will try to find a new home base to return to. Also down below the movement planning box, you've got here you've got the speed settings, obviously, the altitude settings, the maximum height up there. You've also got this tool, the show range for aircraft, and the show waypoints for all units tools, which can be quite useful as well. Okay, so it's tracking towards medium height. So what we'll do is we'll do a show range for aircraft. We'll zoom out the map, and there we go. You can see the range ring for the Seahawk when we select that. When we go show waypoints for all units, you can also see the Poseidon and the Montreal have their waypoints visible as well. So useful, useful features. Okay. Also, we on the left-hand side we have the various units. We'll show whichever units we have on our side. And have deployed. You'll note that it doesn't show your non-deployed units, such as the Lightnings that are at Goose Bay. It also shows lists of all your detections. At this point, only the Escapade. You have a mission log, which shows all your battle reports of things that have happened, your objectives, both of which we've met so far, and it also shows messages. We've only received one so far, but it shows the location of the detection as well. These are your rules of engagement and various AI settings for weapon orders, detections being treated as hostile, evasion, sensor responses, and time compression settings. So these are also very useful to be aware of these and use them as you will. So helicopters now, we'll increase the speed of the helicopter to try and get it rising a little faster to medium height. And crack on with the rest of the tutorial. Okay, so we've got a new detection on the top left of the golden rod, and the hint is the increased elevation has allowed your helicopter to detect a second fishing boat, still using passive radar only. Elevation is very important for detection. Now is the time to turn on active radar on your helicopter. Go to the sensors panel, select the APS 124 radar listed first, and click the activate radar button, which we did by mistake earlier, but now we'll do it properly. So we've got the Escapade fishing boat, we've got the goldenrod fishing boat. They're what we've detected. We'll go back here to the sensor and APS 125 radar and turn it on. And the hint says, notice that active radar runs a high risk of counter detection by the enemy and is less likely to identify the target, but has much longer range and accuracy. Passive radar is safe from counter detection, but has less chance of detecting military units that are not itself using active radar. It is more likely to identify targets, but less likely to get an exact fix. Now, with active radar at high altitude, send your helicopter towards the map marker near the fishing vessels. Note, you'll definitely want to increase time compression to 1:20 or even higher. This is a large area. Okay, so turn on the radar. We won't need the dipping sonar. The ESM's already active. And we'll go to our movement planner. We may as well try and get it to maximum height. Set it to military speed. Simply, we wouldn't normally do this, but simply for the purpose of a tutorial. And we wouldn't normally do it because, of course, the fuel consumption would be very high at that speed, as opposed to setting it at cruise and allowing the helicopter simply to take the time to get to the location and perhaps using time compression. But what we'll do is we'll set it there as our Seahawk, and it's tracking towards the golden rod. We will increase time compression to 1:60. Okay, so now we've got a hint, a new detection of the fishing fool, and you can see the lat longs there. And the hint states, very well, use your helicopter and reconnaissance plane to survey the region, and there's the fishing fool fishing boat. Use your helicopter and reconnaissance plane to survey the region and identify the ships that traffic this busy area. Use high elevation and passive and active radar to experiment. Be on the lookout for a civilian airliner that is expected to be in the area soon. High time compression is recommended in this tutorial. When you detect and identify the airliner, this tutorial is finished. Okay, so going back to the Seahawk, and yep, what we'll do is we'll take these fishing vessels sequentially. So we'll move over to this one, go to the Montreal, which we see here. We haven't yet put on its sensors. You can see it there. We'll go back to the Poseidon. Now it's still tracking at a low altitude here, just having come out of Goose Bay, and it's tracking down what looks like one of the fjords. So we'll take it up to maximum height because it's not going to detect very much hidden down there. And there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, it's passing now through 4,000 meters or 12,000 feet. And we've got a new detection of the MV Game Changer. You can see the lat long in the message as well. This is an oil tanker, so we'll have a look at the MV Game Changer oil tanker that we have detected and apparently also identified. Now, in the real world, a lot of these civilian vessels, there it is, would be able to be identified fairly much as soon as they're detected because of the use of the automated identification system, or the AIS. So we'll turn on the AN/APY-10 radar, I think, at some point for the Poseidon. Look at that. Look at that view. Beautiful. Although you can see the terrain disappearing over the horizon to the rear of the aircraft. It's now at 12,500 meters, tracking at 815 kilometers per hour. So now we'll turn on the AN/APY-10 radar, which is a range of 324 nautical miles. That's a pretty good range. You can see that marked on the map as well. Okay, so while we're waiting for it to do its thing, the Seahawk is now moving up on the first fishing vessel. And once it's done that, we'll move it to the second and then the third. We'll increase our time compression. 1:30. That means a minute's passing every 2 seconds of real time. And we'll let this play out. Okay, so the Seahawk has reached its location. It's done its positive identification, or its visual identification. So we'll track it now towards the second vessel that we detected. We'll increase its speed. And we'll increase time compression to 1:30. So 1 minute of game time for every 2 seconds of real time. Oh, we've detected another large surface contact, and you can see the lat long of the detection there on the top left. We'll go and have a look at that. Now this one we've detected but haven't identified, so you can see the game displays it as a shadow, not as a total unit icon, but it's more of a shadow, and that essentially is a visual cue that you've detected it but you have not yet identified it. We've got the Boeing P-8 Poseidon. It's doing its thing. We'll increase time compression. Yep, tracking towards its waypoints, and it's well into the ocean now. Okay, moving to the Seahawk. Time's gone down. So yes, it's obviously positively identified the second vessel, so I move it on to the third fishing vessel. Again, increase its speed, maybe to cruise, and get it going to do its thing. Okay, there's the Poseidon coming in on its complicated waypoints there. And yep, happy with its speed. Happy with its sensors, are all active. We'll increase time compression. Okay, we're not getting any new detections. So we'll move to the Montreal and I'll have a look at its got an Ericsson Sea Giraffe AMB 3D radar with a reference range 216 nautical miles. Also an AN/SPS-49 air search radar, an AN/SQS-510 sonar, and an AN/SQR-501 can test towed array sonar. What we might do is with the with the air search radar, we might activate that and see if there's anything else we can detect. Now, in a tactical scenario, I think the point of this tutorial is to tell you you shouldn't and you don't need to have your valuable surface vessels essentially reveal their own location by turning on their active radar. But we'll do it just to see what happens. Okay, our Seahawk's obviously done visual identification of the third fishing vessel, so it's now going to track to the north-northwest to do a visual identification of these large vessels. Okay, and we've detected and identified the civilian airliner. So in the 5th tutorial in Naval War Arctic Circle, we've covered the use of radar in helicopters, aircraft and surface ships, and in our next tutorial we'll cover sonar, then start the 12 missions in the NATO campaign. As always, thanks for watching. For more Naval War Arctic Circle content, check out the Jersey Blockade and NATO campaign playlists on our channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.